Welcome, I'm the Lab Coat Astrologer, and in this video, we'll delve into Big 3 astrology and transits, analyzing the components of the astrological chart, focusing on the placement of the sun, moon, and rising. Boom, bam, pop. Let's dive into the Big 3 astrology and transits. At the core of any astrological chart are the placements of the sun, moon, and rising, synonymous with the ascendant. I have a hand-drawn chart here. I'm going to be using this as an example of some of the components, the intricacies. And I'm going to be toggling between this screen and this screen to show the placements, the current placements of the transiting planets, so that we know what's going on. So at the core of any astrological chart are the placements of the sun, moon, and rising, also known as the ascendant. And together they create a blueprint for your unique personality, strengths, and challenges. But don't worry about getting lost in the intricacies of it all. I've got you covered with tips and tricks for analyzing your chart and navigating transits like a pro. So let's do this. So at first I'm going to start with this transiting chart here. And this is a chart of the moment for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, October 7th, or the 7th of October 2023. And these are the placements of the current planets. These are the placements of the current planets. Now the ascendant, or the rising sign, is located here, and we find the zodiac sign Scorpio according to the time that it is. At 10 a.m., the sun has just risen, well, a few hours ago, and it's located in the 11th house in Libra, so that's the sun sign. The moon sign is in Cancer in the 9th house, and Scorpio is rising. So these are the big three for the current moment. And we can look at this two different ways. Honestly, we can look at this in two different chart formats. We can look at this with Scorpio on the ascendant, with Libra in the 12th house, and Cancer in the 9th house. So that's a code focusing on the big three: the sun sign Libra, the moon sign Cancer, and the rising sign Scorpio. But we can also look at this, we can also look at that big three combination in the natural zodiac, which is what I want to also show here because it's something that I'm thinking about right now. We can also, I got a blank chart, I use my eraser. And so in the natural zodiac, Aries is naturally the first zodiac sign, Aries. But the sun is currently in Libra. The moon is currently in Cancer. And the ascendant sign is Scorpio. So I put Aries here so you can know that this is the natural zodiac, the natural order of the zodiac, starting with Aries in the left side of the chart. Cancer is the 4th house. Libra is naturally the 7th zodiac sign and associated with the 7th house. Scorpio is the 8th zodiac sign naturally associated with the 8th house. So we have these temperaments or these archetypes being expressed. And the relationship between the sun and the moon are they're pretty important in astrology. They're pretty important in astrology in that they are the lights. And they bring light and awareness to the archetypes, the characteristics of the zodiac sign. And there's an exchange of energies. The sun being in Libra is a light, and the moon in Cancer is a light. And as you may or may not know, the sun actually gives light to the moon. The moon reflects the sun's light, so we can actually add that little tidbit and correlate that into the interpretation of the astrological chart and its meaning, where the expression of the sun has to do with our core identity, the self-expression. Our self-expression in Libra expresses balance. The key motto for Libra is balance. And it expresses this balance to the moon, which is located in Cancer, which key motto is feelings. I feel. So the balance of emotions is one interpretation that we can get right off the jump, right in the beginning of this combination of the sun in Libra and the moon in Cancer. And so this dynamic is expressed in everybody's chart. And your big three, your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign adds to this mixture, to this combination here. So I want to share that if you're here, welcome, and you're new to the channel. If you'd like to put your big three, your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign in the comments, I want to put it in this chart, this diagram, and analyze it if you'd like me to. But I wanted to start off with the current moment, the transits. The word transits has to do with the current position of the planets, their movement, and where they're located. So Mars is located in Libra, getting ready to change and ingress into Scorpio. There's getting ready to be a transition here coming up this upcoming week of Mars from Libra to Scorpio. And all these planets play a role in the interpretation and the analysis of your personalized astrological chart. What's up, Lab Coat? Boom Bam Pop, welcome. Okay, we got a sun, moon, and rising here. Let me set up here to get you in here so we can analyze your big three in connection with the transiting skies. Can you hear the music? Let me know in the comments if you can hear the music, if it's too loud, because this is something new that I'm doing, and I don't want to drown myself out. I really can't hear the music. So you got to let me know. I'm working with getting better on streaming and providing quality content so that we can learn in an atmosphere and an environment that is comfortable and cozy. So let me know. Okay, let's shrink this back down to its regular size. And so your big three, let's go do a chart here. We got a blank chart here. Start over from the beginning. It's not loud. Thank you for the response. I appreciate you. So correct me if I'm wrong. You have Leo in the first house, also known as the ascendant. The ascendant is this point. The first house is this compartment. You have a rising sign, Leo. You have the sun in Cancer, which is the sign before Leo. I like doing a little art because it reminds me of the nature of the zodiac sign. Something that could be beneficial is drawing out the symbolism. The symbolism, the signs, they have meaning. And in drawing them, it kind of brings you to the core meanings of the signs. But anywho, Cancer sun, Taurus moon. So Cancer is here in the 12th house. Gemini would be here, and Taurus would be here in the 10th compartment. And this is whole sign. What I'm drawing here, this is a whole sign perspective, a whole sign chart where the whole zodiac sign is located in the house. So with your big three, we have a connection with your lens. We'll call the first house, or the sign in the first compartment, the lens. You know, your view. You viewing yourself as a king or royalty. Expressive confidence is something that was instilled in you at an early age, because the first house in astrology points to early childhood. And as we see that it's close to the ascending, it's what ascends, it's how you ascend in your view onto the world. Your approach is kingly, is royal, is confident. The importance of being confident and expressing yourself is something that's important. And it comes through the lens of the emotions and the feelings. Because the sun sign, the sun is naturally the ruler of Leo. So we have the chart ruler, and your chart is the sun, and it's located in the 12th house. And so they say that the 12th house is the house of, it's a mystical house, it's a spiritual house. Cancer is and points to the home, the family, and quite particularly the mother, the feminine energy. So it makes me want to say or connect that or interpret that as the mother and or women in the family have played a significant role in you shining as a man, or excuse me, not as a man, as a confident and a expressive individual. Correct me if I'm wrong. King. Correct me if I'm wrong. This also has you diving into one of your core expressions and ways in which to express yourself is through spiritual practices. I find that the sun in the 12th house is an individual who's able to be in solitude for long periods of time and entertain themselves, keeping themselves occupied. This is a expression and a character to the core of being tapped into the emotions and the feelings and the well-being and the care of women, even, whether they be in the family or not, and maybe even happen to be a protector. The zodiac sign Cancer is the sign of protection and security, and so you may have had to protect some family members, and the care for family members when they're in need, when they're in sorrowful positions or challenging positions, that you aid your planetary rule, your chart's ruler in the 12th houses. You shine a light on family issues. How that can be interpreted. I'm very spiritual, and I do enjoy. Hang on a second here. This screen is a little bit too big. How do I move this? Okay, I can't see that. That's fine. Moving forward. I'm looking for your comment there. It's okay, we're gonna have to fix that later. Anywho, I'm very spiritual and I enjoy time alone. Yes, and that time alone is to reflect. Let's move on to the moon sign. You have a Taurus moon, which is located in the 10th house. And this is a secondary testimony to the emotions, the feelings, and the mother's role and or women in the family contributing to your career and reputation. Because of the moon, this is I find in the astrological chart that when the moon is at the top is public. The top of the chart is associated with the 10th house. It's associated with the middle of the day between 10 a.m. approximately and 12 noon. You were born in the summertime, so it's approximately 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is this duration, this portion of the chart. And I find that when planets are here located in the 10th house, they're recognized or they're put up on this pedestal, right? So it's the mother, women, and or the female energetic, and being tapped into the emotions and the looking up to the mother, and the values that are placed on you by the mother are significant and important. There's actually a tie between Taurus, the zodiac sign Taurus, and the zodiac sign Cancer. If we don't take away Leo, but if we only focus on the sun sign and the moon sign to then comprehend your personality, it tells a lot about your character and who you are. With the 12th house sun and the 10th house moon, it ties the career, the reputation, the public image, how you're known, how you're recognized, and reflecting on your public image greatly. Almost sometimes to the point of, you go overboard sometimes at times. You become emotional about things that your expression in the public image or at the workplace or how other people see you. I would say that that's like a criticism, a self-criticism with the sun in the 12th house. So the 12th house becomes to be a healing, a place for improvement, and reflection on your career and what it is that you want to be. Now, let's move forward. I spent a little bit of time on that. The current placement of the sun. Let's tie in the current transits, as this is the title of the show. Libra is Leo rising's 3rd house. And let's see how this ties into this Cancer, Taurus, Leo rising. Libra in the 3rd house points to an expression and themes surrounding your mindset. The 3rd house is naturally associated with Gemini. Gemini is the sign of communication. It points to brothers, sisters, cousins, close relatives, and the mindset, the way you speak, the way you communicate to people, how others communicate to you, and finding balance there. Maybe perhaps some close relatives, some deep conversations and understanding about the fairness within the relationship. Excuse me. And so we have the sun in Libra currently, and you got about another 2 more weeks for that energetic. And the moon, the transiting moon currently right now is in Cancer. As we can see in this astrological chart, the moon is in Cancer. So with that, the transiting moon is currently in the same sign as your sun sign. Excuse me. Do you see that there? So with the moon being in the same sign as your sun sign, this positioning is similar to a new moon. I'm going to write similar to a new moon. Although it's not a new moon, but it symbolizes a time period where it's like a new beginning for you in regards to how you look at yourself towards self-improvement and towards correcting yourself, especially in the area of in private or in solitude internally, as well as reflecting on your emotions and how you have acted emotionally in circumstances. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's new beginnings in regards to sleep patterns as well. They say that, I say sometimes that the 12th house has a lot to do with rest and reflection. And so I like rest and reflection as positive characteristics of the 12th house, because the 12th house is known to be a house of sorrow. I want to give a little bit of backstory to the 12th house when it comes to the interpretation of the 12th house, some of the archetypes that are connected to the 12th house are hospitals. Because hospitals, and if we look to see what happens in hospitals, this is a place of recovery, where you're recovering. So there's a sense of new beginnings for you over the course of the past 2 days that you've set with yourself to tap into your emotions and how you respond emotionally in certain circumstances. Considerably in your public image, because your natal moon is there. The moon is the ruler of Cancer. So I'm looking at the transit moon in Cancer, and your natal sun in Cancer is highlighting this moon as the ruler of Cancer. So locating the moon in Taurus, we say, okay, this also points to your financial position, a reflection on the amount of money that you make in your job or your career, and an assessment there and a way in which to improve. Correct me if I'm wrong. You see how that's tied there, the 12th house? Your sleep is so important. I want to emphasize this because with the transiting moon in Cancer and your natal sun there, this points to rest. Your sleep patterns potentially may be of extreme importance over the past couple of days, conserving your energy as well, right? So we get that from the the moon being in Cancer and the sun being in Libra with a balancing. There's a balancing act going on across the planet. And I'm saying personally and individually, each person on the planet would experience this Librarian energetic archetype and Cancer archetype, and this exchange here between these two planets. And I'm showing that here today by doing big threes. If you'd like to put your big three in the comments, you're more than welcome. SOS, thank you for sharing. There's so much more with this astrological chart that we can tie in here, just with these components. So we can look like, from looking at this chart here, it focuses on your ascendant, the 12th house, the 10th house, and with the transiting sun and the transiting moon, the 3rd house is then incorporated into this equation. So it's your mindset. I'm going to keep going until someone else puts their big three in the chart. This is what I'm doing. So mindset, I encourage you, right, to really tap into improving yourself in connection to your mindset and how you deliver a message. The 3rd house has to do with messages. It has to do with information that you receive. This is a time the sun, in essence, is shining a bright light from an astrological perspective on your mind, your mentality, your thought process. Being encouraged. The sun is a vital force. What's vital to you right now is communication, personally coming from you, as well as with the people who you interact with, and working with finding balance in a way in which to incorporate what it is that you've learned, right? Because the 3rd house has to do with early learning. It has to do with basic concepts there. And so Venus is the planet that rules Libra. So we're working with planetary rulerships, which is a significant key in interpreting the astrological chart, and you can do this as well. Staying tapped into the channel with the Lab Coat Astrologer. Like, comment, share if you'd like. Thank you. So Venus, and let me know about the music too. I just started doing this music background. I thought it was going to be a good way in which to have an ambiance. The ambiance of it. So let me know if you like it or if you don't like it. But Venus located in the 3rd house. Venus has to do with beauty. Venus has to do with joy. It has to do with aesthetics. And in the 3rd house, the house of communication, it's a way in which to relate. There's a beauty and there's an aesthetic, believe it or not, to the way in which we communicate and we share a message to others. And so locating where Venus is in the astrological chart will shed some light on where this energy disposits or where it goes. Venus currently right now is in Leo with the lens view. And so there's an uplifting, Venus is an uplifting energetic. It deals with appreciation and beauty and valuing the self. There's an importance there. And so just as there's a connection between the 12th house and the 10th house in your big three, with the transiting big three, focusing on the sun, the big one, it highlights a connection between your personal self and your communication. So we see more as we dig a little bit deeper into planetary rulerships that you've been working on and finding joy and focus. And there are themes surrounding your personal self and the way you express yourself and your view in relationships, Libra, and sharing the message, understanding and being informed. Right? There's growth there. Maybe conversations with a brother, sister, cousin, close relative. Maybe a conversation with a friend or a neighbor. Why do you say neighbors? Why do you say? Because the third house also points to neighbors. It also points to neighbors. So there's a connection there. And not for nothing, the sun is the ruler of Leo, and we find the sun currently in Libra. And Venus is the ruler of Libra, and we find Venus in Leo, although Venus is getting ready to shift into Virgo. But this creates a mutual reception, which I've talked about in some of the rising sign videos that I've been doing. So it ties, it's a tennis match between these two zodiac signs, Leo and Libra, involving the self-expression and communication and the beauty and being more harmonious and more eloquent and more peaceful in your approach and your view that others can see from coming from you. Correct me if I'm wrong. My Venus is in Gemini. Bam, pow. So if your Venus is in Gemini, we're going to add in Gemini here. If you're watching, you're more than welcome to put your big three in the comments. I'm just rocking until someone puts another big three. We're doing big three astrology in here. If you're into astrology, you've come to the perfect place. So you have natal Venus in Gemini in the 11th house. So the importance of friends. So this adds into the story. We can see how, kind of with adding in these components, you see how there's not too much yet on the right side of the chart, which denotes others. The left side of the chart denotes more you and your independence and your personal self. The middle point from the 10th house cusp to the 4th house cusp is the self. This is a middle point. We can even draw a little line here. In my mind, I want to make a connection here for you to be able to see this. You know, there's kind of a midpoint that emphasizes your personal expression even more. There's like we can create this big triangle. Excuse me. We can create this big triangle that pinpoints and focuses on your appreciation for yourself and the love of yourself and the way in which you express yourself is something that's important to you at this time. Welcome in. Peace. How are you? We're doing big three astrology in here. We're analyzing the components of the chart. Big three in transits. Correct me if I'm wrong on that SOS. Give me a confirmation if you'd like. Rhodes Gold, how are you? Welcome in. Appreciate y'all for coming in here in this little tidbit. If you'd like to put your big three, your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign in the comments. I'm analyzing and doing a little bit of chart analysis here from the transiting chart. So let's dive into this a little bit deeper because we have some more features in this astrological chart. I would say that there are some opportunities that have been presenting themselves to you and for you, not only because Venus is on the ascendant. Venus has to do with money, has to do with beauty, has to do with our values. You know, you placing more value on yourself is significant. And here, check this out. Jupiter is currently in Taurus right now. Jupiter is an optimistic, fortunate, and expansive. It broadens the horizons in regards to career fields for you. And it's very close to your moon, which brings some benefits and opportunities from the family, through and by the family, and or the mother, or the connection with the mother. Uranus, some people say Uranus. I don't say Uranus because of how it sounds when you say Uranus. So I say Uranus, which is, Uranus is actually in fall in Taurus. So it's a little bit at the same time that there's benefits and opportunities with the broadening of the horizons in connection to the career. It's a little bit awkward for you. Uranus has this awkward, strange, I don't know. It's a different Uranus occupations that you may find benefit that come through women and or the mother and the support of the mother or women in the family tie into. And it comes from friendships because Venus is the ruler. This is getting a little bit clustered here. I hope you're following me. But Venus is the ruler of Taurus, so this Jupiter and Uranus energetic of opportunities and eccentricity and different actually manifest with friendships which uplift your personal self. This is collaboration. Have you been collaborating with some people here? So many career opportunities. This is confrontation with how I'm currently feeling and what I'm going through right now. Confrontation? Confirmation or confrontation? Is it a confirmation or a confrontation? I'm curious. So this is actually dynamic. And I thought yesterday that the past couple of days, I've been thinking that this is an excellent way in which to read astrological charts, because there's so many people who want to know how to read the astrological chart. And I'm getting ready to start. I'm putting this into the ether. I'm getting ready to start doing charts like this via Zoom. I was doing audio calls before, and I really want to share how to make sense of the astrological chart. And by me showing you by hand the focal points, as well as utilizing an actual astrological chart, I even thought to use whatever program that you like. We can do that on the Zoom call. If you like how this chart looks, or you have another program that you like how it looks, we can pull up the chart here during a session, a Zoom session. Oh, excuse me. And we can also go back and forth and toggle between the hand chart to show where the focal points are for you. Okay, confirming. All right, thank you. My mom is supporting me in my new endeavors. That's awesome. I wish I had a cheering sound effect. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna put cheering sound effect, because that sounds good. All right, so we have another big three. I'm glad that adds confirmation. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg in analyzing your astrological chart. If you're interested in me analyzing your chart and answering some of your questions so that you may be able to understand and comprehend how life's going, or more confirmations in your life with picking and choosing a career choice, because it looks like there are some living circumstances that are getting ready to arise for you that you may be worried about, or you may be concerned about. coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But let's move on to the next astrological chart. Let's go back to this main screen here. Currently it is 10:43. This website here is astro.com, and I would like to update the time because we are 43 minutes past the hour, and I want to show on this website. I've been using this website for years. I'm not getting paid for advertising this. It's just a chart website that I love. It's helped me out so much in connecting the dots, and the way that it has the ability to pull up different types of charts, not only the natal chart but composite charts, progress charts, and such. But now we see that Scorpio is on the rise for those who are in the eastern part of the United States. Scorpio at 25 degrees. So the rising sign, when you see a zodiac sign that's rising, it is said that these characteristics and archetypes are viewed at that current moment. All right, Wilson, we're getting ready to get your big three in here. We're getting ready to get your big three in here. And I think I need to have a bunch of these charts. I need to have a slew of these charts so that I can share with you and have enough so that I don't have to draw the astrological chart each time. But I really, believe it or not, I really like drawing the astrological chart. It's actually kind of like, it's therapeutic, not for nothing. It's therapeutic, it's educational, it's you become the architect of your life. They say that knowledge of self is the key, or one of the keys to life, is to know yourself, to know who you are, know where you're going, your whence, your withers, your time, your strengths, your weaknesses, like all of that. And astrology is a tool to be able to start making some of those connections. Is your astrological chart. It's not everything, and you don't have to use it all the time. But when there's ever a question or you want to tap into yourself, your astrological chart is said to be your blueprint. You know, it's similar to you hearing someone speak and say something that connects with you, and you're like, you know, you get that, that's good. I hear you, I like that. You get that, Not for nothing, that's interesting that Taurus is the zodiac sign that points to the throat, neck, and the ears, and it deals with the values and appreciation and the sound, the part of the body that's utilized to, that's good, is the throat. Not for nothing. There's all types of correlations that can be made with astrology, and it's one of the reasons that I am still doing astrology to this day. I can do anything I put my mind to, but I don't think I'm going anywhere. I've tried to disprove it. It can be general and it can also be specific. And those who may not agree may not have taken the time, to actually see how the components come together and work together. To see how it comes together. I think it's a dynamic in the comments. Like the live if you agree. Okay, boom. Let's go to the next one here. I'm saving paper because the rainforests, they need to be paid attention to. Okay, so here we're gonna go into the next one. Okay, so boom. Leo sun, Leo rising, Scorpio moon. Okay, so the rising sign, synonymous with the ascendant. We have ascendant. You usually see it as AC. AC, ascendant. It's also synonymous with rising sign, because this is where the planets rise, and the first house compartment. You're saying that you have Leo. You're saying that you have Leo there, and you have the sun in Leo shining brightly. Now, the interesting feature about this with basics is that the sun is naturally the ruler of Leo. So the sun is in its own house or environment, comfortable, it's cozy there. Oh, excuse me, I made a mistake. I was going too fast. I went way too fast. I'm going to show you this erasing point because I make mistakes. I do. I honestly do. And I'm correcting my mistake with this trusty dusty eraser. It happens. I get excited. I'm guilty of excitement sometimes. You said you have Scorpio on the ascendant. Scorpio is in the number one place, which is a little different from Leo. And so you have Leo in the 10th place. But the sun is still the ruler of Leo. And so by you being a Leo, the sun is still comfortable and it's at home there, if you will. Not home like the house placement, because Leo is naturally the 5th, associated with the 5th house over here. This is the 5th house, but we find the 5th sign, Leo, in the 10th house. So this is the career, the reputation, the public image, dun, 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 superhero when it comes to the career, the expectations of the father or the father figure, and your image that you show and how it's seen by others is something that is of utmost importance. You were born between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. approximately, right? That's what this chart denotes. This is also a clock for those that may or may not know. You're gonna learn a whole bunch of different small little things in here when I get to going, get to channeling. And so if we look at this astrological chart over here, which is a current chart, this is the transits. Transits are where the planets are currently. We find the sun in Libra, we find the moon in Cancer. So we're gonna plot this in your chart and see what we got here. We got the sun in Libra, which is the 12th house. We got another 12th house situation going on here. You see what I'm saying? We got the transiting sun in the 12th house, which focuses on themes surrounding your sleep, your rest, and improving yourself. You're trying to find balance with your sleep patterns from this perspective, astrological perspective. You're trying to find balance in your relationships and through your self-expression, through analyzing some of the innermost compartments of your soul, right? To see how you can be a better you, and looking at how you can be a better you by looking at some of the mistakes or some of the things that you would like to correct. Wilson Legacy, 6:24 a.m. Oh, you're right. I made a mistake. I thought I made a mistake, and it wasn't a mistake. It was correct. And now I've gone into this. So now we have to erase this again. I've made 2 mistakes. So that was for a Scorpio rising. That was for a Scorpio rising. I want you guys to look at this transiting chart instead of watching me erase this. That was a double mistake. Pardon me, Wilson. I got you covered here. I still get excited, as you can see. And I made a mistake. And it's something that you will do when you draw the chart by hand, which is an excellent thing. It's great to make mistakes. We may not think so, and it may not feel the best when we make the mistake. Ah, shit, or stuff, excuse me, you know, made a mistake. I didn't want to make that mistake. And so, but it's actually a good thing because we learn from it. We learn from the mistakes. I'm actually enjoying making mistakes, believe it or not. I'm really starting to enjoy it. Not like I'm looking to make the mistake, but if it happens, it's something that I'm embracing. Boom, bam, pop, you know, because it makes me better. Especially with reading the astrological chart. Okay, boom, bam, pop. Let's go back here to your chart. I'm going to try this again. Wilson, thank you. So, for your patience. Leo is on the ascendant. I was right. I stand corrected. And you have the sun in Leo. And it looks like you said Leo's sun 28 degrees. We can put 28 degrees and you have the ascendant at 26. So the sun and the ascendant are conjunct. Not for nothing. Your ascendant. I'm using whole sign house system. So and I'm going to acknowledge that and incorporate that in the chart here. But I'm not going to do it as exact because it's going to get too small and it'll get cluttered here. Now, okay, so you have and you have Scorpio moon. Leo has Scorpio in the 4th house. So you have a Leo sun, Scorpio moon, Leo rising, which ties and connects the 1st house and the 4th house. I want to erase these houses for a minute because I want my goal was to focus on the areas of the chart that pop in connection to your big three. Your big three. That's what we're doing here. We're doing your big three with the transits. For those who are into transits and big threes. So we can see right off the bat from your astrological chart that the 1st house and the 4th house become to be highlights in what you were born. You were born this way. So it's considered to be your promise, right? There's a connection between your lens, your self-expression, your persona, and your personality and pride, right? Because the sun is the ruler of Leo and Leo is at home. And there's a connection with the family, with the bonds and the closeness of the family, the mother, and circumstances involving the family, whether they're good or bad, it still affects and impacts the emotions significantly. Family matters, right? The pride issues that might not be the best. Sometimes the pride gets in the way of family matters. Why do I say that? Because this is a square. The 1st house to the 4th house is a square. If we were to pull out our trusty dusty protractor here, we would see that if we pull out our trusty dusty protractor here, we would see with this little fancy dial, 90 degrees is here. So from the 1st house, excuse me, hang on, bear with me. From the 1st house to the 4th house is 90 degrees. You see that there? 1st house, 4th house, 90 degrees. And so that creates a square. Squares in astrology equal 90 degrees. And it's tension. So although the moon is comfortable here, the sun is comfortable here, because they're 90 degrees, there's some tense circumstances, as there are in any family, but they have a tendency to touch you a little bit more and impact your personality so much. And so it's through this tension where it adds growth, where you either become prideful. You learn a great deal about your pride and your ego. Does that make me a Virgo rising? It does not make you a Virgo rising. It makes you, it's interesting. It's similar to this chart. That was a good question. I want to address that. It's similar to this chart here. Let me zoom in on this chart a little bit here. Watch this. So because you see how in this chart, the ascendant is 25 degrees, it looks like 25 degrees Scorpio, because the arrow points to Scorpio, right? It's 25 degrees, or it looks like 28 degrees. That would be 28 degrees, excuse me. So the ascendant is 28 degrees Scorpio, but you see most of Scorpio in the 12th compartment. So you're like, I see most of Sagittarius here. Damn, maybe I'm a Sagittarius rising. Survey says, you're not a Sagittarius rising. You're a Scorpio rising. Or in this case, you would be a Scorpio rising, but you're just at the wee end of it. And it is said, there's a concept called progress chart, where it is said, they say, I even say, that at an early age you progressed into Sagittarius. For in your case, it would be at an early age you progressed into Virgo. It makes you a Virgo at an early age at approximately 4, 5, 6, depending on your location and when we look at your astrological chart from a progress chart, secondary progression perspective. Right? So so let's add in these transits, which is my focus, big 3 and your big 3. I should have put your big 3 in transits plus transit on the thumbnail. That's what I should have done. Maybe in the next video. Okay, boom, bam, pow. Let's get in here. So we have currently the sun in Libra, the moon in Cancer. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit, lab coat. Okay, people are waiting. We have Leo here. After Leo is Virgo, always. After Virgo is Libra, always. The order of the zodiac signs always stay the same. It's a code. So we have the sun in Libra in the 3rd house. This is similar to the first chart that we did, because it is the communication and the balancing and the balancing of speech patterns, the way you speak, and fairness as your mindset, as well as being encouraged and encouraging yourself and encouraging others, right? And because Venus is the ruler of Libra, there's a connection, there's a mutual reception between Leo and Libra. And so Venus in Leo right now is very, very close to your sun. Let's look at this. This is dynamic. You see, there's a dynamic here, a dynamicy. That's not a word, dynamicy. Not dynamicy. You see this? Venus getting ready to shift into Virgo. But that retrograde and everything, the Venus was retrograde. So what I'm saying is that energetic, or that motion of Venus being in Leo for so long, and now it's situated by your sun, has to do with a value of self. And because there's all this expression of self, for one testimony that the sun was in Leo when you were born, for 2 testimonies is that the sun is on the ascendant. They say, it is said, I sometimes say and have recognized that when the sun is on the ascendant, that you come here, it's karmic. Long story short, it's karmic. It says that you came here to experience this Leo rising in addition to the sun as a core, to be reminded of pride and to love. Maybe in the last life you didn't love yourself as much as you should have, potentially. But Venus here currently in Leo brings an appreciation for the self and the expression of self, and coming off in a peaceful, this makes me want to say peace, peaceful, and looking at it from a justice and equality, or looking for justice and equality, and willing to express your social views, your views socially to others. This is the lens. It's harmonious. This also brings the relationship. Venus has to do with relationships with the father and or father figure, or a reconciliation with the father in regards to the pride and the ego and the self-expression. This also has to do with a change in the appearance and bringing more of a beautified appearance to yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean makeup, but it could be maybe not cutting the hair, but doing something a little bit more stylish. Venus has an archetype and a characteristic of being stylish when it's on the ascendant, so improving the appearance in some way, shape, or form. Right, so we have a connection here with the transiting sun in Libra. The moon is in Cancer, which is your 12th house. The moon is in your 12th house currently right now. So it's also your rest and your sleep and appreciation for sleep. It's also a looking at and reflecting on. This is a great time with the moon in Cancer. The past couple of days would have been a great time to reflect on your growth process over the past 6 months or the past week or the past 30 days, you know, and how it is that you feel. This is investigating and reflecting on your own emotions and feelings, right? And because the moon is the planet that rules Cancer and the moon is currently transiting here, there's a dynamic between Cancer and the zodiac sign Scorpio, because your moon, your natal moon, is in Scorpio. There's a reflection on how do you feel and a need for comfort, right? From family or through the comforts of the own home, your own home and your well-being, and the need for comfort. Does that resonate with you? I've been in the gym upgrading my wardrobe. Let's go! Get in there for the gym, the wardrobe update. That's interesting that you said wardrobe. That's interesting that you said wardrobe, the beautification of the self. I wonder if what you did to the appearance. Did you cut your hair? I don't see Venus as a cutting of the hair, but it's a style. How did you style? You style your hair different? Or are you using, or have you used, especially with the Venus retrograde, I'm looking over the course of Venus's transit through Leo, and your ascendant is a refashioning or a rephasing of the facial appearance. What did you do? I'm curious. Give me a confirmation here, if you will, if you would like. That's dynamic. Improving your wardrobe. It's possibly through this, while we're talking about Venus. Venus is such a significant feature in the astrological chart, in your astrological charts, because the sun makes Venus a theme by being in Libra. And so we can also look to Taurus, because Taurus is also ruled by Venus, and it's located in your 10th house, which is the house of career. So improving your public image, I can see that there. And Jupiter and Uranus, you are another one who has many opportunities for career position, and or your business has been advancing, maybe perhaps more clients. You know, there's you are being recognized. Look at that. You are being recognized over the course of this Venus retrograde. That's how this has influenced you. Correct me if I'm wrong. In connection to your career, the first house and the 10th house are connected, as Venus, the ruler of Taurus as well as Libra, is currently transiting your first house. So it's like Taurus and Libra, the third house and the 10th house, the house of communication, the way in which you communicate and share a message for understanding, and the public image has improved your quality of life. correct me if I'm wrong. I have a unique hairstyle that I've been keeping up more, and I haven't bought anything new in years. So you're recognizing the beauty in yourself without having to spend as much. That's pretty interesting. Look at how Taurus and Leo naturally square each other. And so this is an example of a square. This is an example of a square which brings tension, but there's growth through the tension. You know, the tension was the money, the finances, Taurus here. So you learned, Jupiter, how to change your approach as a status and career to still beautify the face. When I say beautify, I mean, you know, to look good, your presence, you know, add, you know, aesthetics to your personality, your appearance. Okay? All right. Wilson, thank you so much for sharing. Just spent a few grand on my... Oh, you just spent a few grand on your appearance. Wow, just recent, within the past week? That's pretty interesting that Venus is right on your sun. I would say that would be within the past week because Venus is so close there. All right, if you'd like a deeper analysis and you would like it in this style, be sure to reach out to me. I think that this method adds value to the chart. The comprehension of the chart with the big three and the transits. Okay? All right, so I want to thank each and every one of you. My battery's getting ready to die here. And so I got to recharge until I figure out how to get my battery. So I'll see you in the next video.